The year is 1969. The Star of the Sea Football Club has one of the most successful youth teams in Northern Ireland. The Star of the Sea is exceptional. It's a mixed team with Protestants and Catholics playing together on the same side. Around them, communities are dividing, swiftly, brutally and efficiently, into sectarian ghettos. And soon this team too will divide. 2 of the Protestants will go to jail for terrorist offences, as will 1 Catholic. Bobby Sands will be elected a Westminster MP and will die on hunger strike.
Yes, go on, Andre.
Bobby Sands did not come from a hard-line Republican background. He grew up in what was then a mixed housing estate, Rathcoole, just outside Belfast, an estate that's now fiercely loyalist. But when Bobby Sands was a child, 1 family in 4 in Rathcoole was Catholic. And by Northern Ireland standards, it was an exceptionally well-integrated estate. It attracted many mixed marriages. Bobby Sands was a child of one of them. His father was a Protestant, his mother a Catholic. Catholic children played with Protestants, and Protestant children seemed happy to join the youth club just down the road from Rathcoole, with a Catholic name, the Star of the Sea, after the Virgin Mary. All this was a measure of the harmony in that community before the Troubles, a harmony mirrored by the football team itself, split equally between Protestants and Catholics. Bobby Sands' best friend was Thomas O'Neill, a Catholic. They grew up together and joined the club as young boys.
When I started, she was, 8-year-old. 2 of us started at the same time. 8-year-old, stayed there. I stayed, I was 20 years of age. Bobby left, but he was about 18.
Terry Nichol, a Mormon. He later joined the illegal Protestant UVF. When he went to the Star of the Sea, he had one passion.
Just football. I'd have played for anybody. I'd have kicked about in the street if I wasn't getting a football match, even with kids 2 or 3 years younger than me. As long as you're out playing football.
Desi Black, a Catholic, and Willie Caldwell, a Protestant. They've been close friends since they first met 15 years ago.
Well, I think basically it was through being in the Star Sea, through the youth club.
The Star, like, so
although I knew Desi a bit before I joined youth club. I don't know. We used to play football over. There used to be a field.
in Greencastle there used to be a big area, so knocked down. I know about, where is it, on Mill Road?
Up where it's all housing estates now, but it used to be a big field. We used to play football there, like street against street, and I used to play against his street. And Desi used to run off with the ball crying if we get beat.
He used to win all the time.
Take the ball home.
Geordie Hussey, a Protestant, a football fanatic.
Just like ordinary fellas, nobody asked why you were Catholic or Protestant. If there was a new fella started, like, he didn't ask, were you a Catholic or a Protestant? He just, if he was half decent football, he was on the side. If he wasn't, well, that was it.
Dennis Sweeney, the grammar school boy, and later the doctor, a Catholic.
I must say, at the Star of the Sea Football Club, you basically found out afterwards when you were on the team who were the Protestants and who weren't who were the Catholics. But it was imperceptible. Strangely enough, it took a long time to find out who the Protestants and who the Catholics were.
Raymond McCord, a Protestant, emigrating with his family to Australia, depressed by all that the Troubles had destroyed.
They were all friends, and there was never any animosity at all. We used to, 2 or 3 times a year, we used to go down to Dublin, play teams from the south, and they had to sing a South ways and down to Dublin, or we had to sing rebel songs, and it was just a sing song. It's just probably songs that their parents had taught them, and our parents had taught us. But there was no bad feeling even when there were songs we were getting sung.
Michael Atcheson, a Protestant. He later joined the UVF and he's now serving 18 years in the Maze prison for his part in the shooting and wounding of 3 Catholic labourers. Rathcoole, on the northern shores of Belfast Lough, is a good 5 miles from the city. And in 1969 that distance protected the estate from the spreading sectarian conflict in Belfast. Rathcoole was still mixed, and that's the way it almost stayed. Belfast was burning, but Rathcoole stayed aloof. Even during the height of the Protestant celebrations on the night before the 12th of July, when an effigy of the Pope is traditionally burnt on a bonfire, even then, Protestant Raymond McCord remembers how the Catholics would join in the fun.
Well, most of the streets in Rathcoole were mixed. In fact, every street was mixed. And it's a time of year when the Protestants are supposed to hate the Catholics and Catholics are supposed to hate Protestants, say around the 11th, 12th of July. When the 11th night, when we're lighting the bonfires, there was 2 families in our street. One was a Protestant family, another one was a Catholic family. And they collected the money from the kids and the kids' parents to have parties for us. And this happened every year, even the Troubles were going for a couple of years.
But Rathcoole was an exception. If you didn't live on a mixed estate, your experience was very different. As a child living in a Catholic area of Belfast, Dennis Sweeney never met any Protestants.
They were all Catholic. I had no Protestant friends that I can remember as a child, before the age of 10, say.
So even before the Troubles, there was certainly a very clear sectarian division.
Absolutely, yes. I didn't know why. I remember probably I remember on holiday in Portstewart, probably at the age of about 5, 6, meeting other kids on the beach, etc. But and being told afterwards that they were Protestants, feeling that strange to a certain extent that I'd met Protestant people, because I didn't have any Protestant friends before the age of probably 10 or 11.
Rathcoole had managed to maintain a religious mix that Dennis Sweeney had never known, but it was to be short-lived. Over the rest of the province, a total of 60,000 people had fled their homes in mixed areas for Protestant and Catholic enclaves. Rathcoole held out. Until the spring of 1972, when the estate was suddenly swollen with Protestant refugees who found themselves homeless after being forced out of Catholic areas of Belfast. They came to Rathcoole demanding shelter and protection, seething with bitterness against Catholics. The police were helpless, unable to control the chain reaction of hatred sweeping Northern Ireland. Loyalist vigilantes took over, patrolling the estate, and Catholics living in Rathcoole were told they'd be safer elsewhere. If they refused to budge, their windows were broken and their homes attacked. By 1974, most of them had left. Among them, Bobby Sands and Tommy O'Neill.
They didn't even come to the door. I hadn't just got the guts to come to the door. Just 2 battles through the window, stones through the window. Mother's hand, she's still got the scars. For no reason at all. We just didn't bother with politics then.
So what did your family do?
Had to move.
That night?
Next day. Moved to my yard. From there to Ardoyne. Stayed there. We lived in Ardoyne since it. No life down in Rathcoole. Just couldn't live in Rathcoole. Just intimidated. Just couldn't come with an age, me and Bobby Sands. Had to walk home at night, just couldn't even get the bus home. Just got hit, kicked, in the bus stop for you. Just so you're a Catholic, that was it, just get hit.
one time there, I say the police came and it was lifted for supposed to be intimidation, and it was just held for a question for a while. I say when I told him I was on the committee and started to see the policeman concerned, he rung up the club, and when he found out I was on the committee, that was the end of that there, because it was let out after about 2 minutes, you know, after he made the phone call. Like.
So the fact that you were on the committee of the club was enough to convince him that you couldn't have been intimidating any Catholics?
Yeah, the club was well respected. There were no throughout the area, to be honest with you. Like, I'd say there was a lot of people who went to it, and there was never no trouble within the club or outside the club, to be honest with you.
And yet, at that time, when Catholics were being put out of the estate, you must have known of people who were intimidating Catholics. You must have had Catholic friends who were being intimidated.
Yeah, there was good Catholics put out, to be honest with you. Like. There was.
Did that not put you in a difficult position?
Playing for Star to See, like.
Yes, and living there.
Yeah, it was more embarrassing, to be honest with you, like, you know, because you went down the train, they were mentioning it, like, fair play to them. Like.
What happened if you knew of mates of yours who were at school with you, say, who were putting Catholics out? Was there anything you could do?
No, it would be a waste of my time. What could I do?
You could try to stop them. Several times we did. The family facing us one night to try to put them out, and tried to stop them. But you could stop them that night and they could only come back the next night or come back when you went to bed. So there was very little you could do.
What about among your friends? Was there ever a difference of opinion between you and your friends about whether Catholics should be living on the estate?
Well, there's many times, and you fought more with your Protestant friends and you fought with your so-called Catholic enemies.
But for a Protestant to be sticking up for Catholics in what was now a hard-line, loyalist Rathcoole was then, as it is now, a dangerous business.
Got my 2 hands broke. So that. And
How?
well, members of paramilitaries, I didn't agree with some of the things that they'd done, and they had a couple of fellas that belonged to one of their organisations, and I didn't like them, and they didn't like me. So
what had they done?
well, they were just members of. They were well-known members of fellas the same age as myself, and were trying to make a name for himself. So they picked on me one night, and they broke my nose and broke my 2 hands. And that was their great thing about it.
Were they wearing masks or were they wearing their own
clothes? No, they were just no masks on. But friends of mine didn't like it, so we just diced it back to them.
By now, Terry Nicholl, despite his Mormon upbringing, was identifying totally with Ulster loyalism. He stopped going to the Star of the Sea.
I just didn't want to play for them anymore. Not the club. Inside the club, it was usually all right. You'd got a snide remark or you'd overheard a remark, but there was never any blatant saying anything to you. But as I say, I was going down into Greencastle, and even my own thoughts were going away from Catholics. You know, every night in news, your rats here, there, everywhere. I just left for the summer, the club, no summer football, and just didn't go back the following year. In August, September, to train, to sign up again. Just didn't go.
Did the other Protestants in the team feel the same?
I think mostly, yes, but a couple of them, I think Raymond McCord was still back playing for them the next season. I don't know where Geordie Hussey was back or not, I don't think so. I think it just all happened in the one summer.
The team of 1969 had scattered. Protestants and Catholics took cover in their own safe areas. Each side would avoid meeting the other. Except for 2. Willie Caldwell and Desi Black would continue to be friends. Desi Black, the goalkeeper, was a good friend of Bobby Sands. They knew each other from school as well as from the team. He has a new life now, in Guernsey. He's a construction worker, and on Sunday afternoons, a football coach. teaching fancy footwork to the Guernsey women's team. He settled here with a Guernsey-born wife and young son, middle name Zico, after one of his daddy's idols.
Keep it going, Chase, that's better, well done. Keep it going. Round the combs, come on.
Desi Black is a Catholic. His best friend, Willie Caldwell, a Protestant. The friendship has lasted. It survived the Troubles. It's even thrived.
Okay, now let's speed it up a wee bit.
But it's all happened outside Northern Ireland.
Okay, when you get back here, stay.
In our situation, I think we'd have still been friends. I mean, the only time, obviously, would have told him living in Belfast. You can't be 100% sure. But I don't know. I can't honestly say what would have happened, but I think we'd have still remained friends, yeah.
What do you think, Desi?
Oh, aye, yeah. Like you said, reckon still be missed, like, you know.
Obviously, you don't know what...
You don't know, but when through all that, like, you know, so I think would have been still missed, like, you know.
When I first, it came home to me that we were actually having, we were in a sort of situation as it is now, became really bad. There was 3 boys that I knew and who had knocked about when I was younger, and they were building bombs in a garage in Bombware, and the bombs blew up and the 3 of them were killed. That's the first time it really struck home to me that that sort of thing was going on around our area. So that was, I think it was 69, wasn't it? Or maybe 70, 69, 70. Because I thought that although it was happening like on the Shankill and on the falls, it hadn't really come down our way yet. And that's when it first sort of struck home down there.
And how did it affect you, that?
I was pretty shocked because I didn't know they were into that. Because I'd known them, grew up with them lads, and I didn't think they'd have been into anything like that. That was, I can remember like the mate calling down for me to go up to the Youth Club that night. It was a Friday afternoon that happened, and I'd heard it on the radio at work that 3 boys in our area had been killed up making bombs in a garage. And I can remember going to the club and like with Chuck Tolan, it was my mate, and he was saying to me that was bad news about the boys getting blown up in the garage. And I said, yeah, it's pretty bad that they get killed, but if they're into doing that, it serves them right. I mean, they shouldn't have been doing that, in my opinion,
We were going away.
While one bomb explosion may have hardened attitudes, another, as in Dennis Sweeney's case, determined a career. He decided to become a doctor.
There's a local pub close to my house, and I would have gone there occasionally on a Friday night for a drink, and I would have probably been in that pub that night, only the fact was that we were off the following morning, which was Saturday morning, for a tournament in Donegal, and the pub was blowing up that night. I walked past it and was about 150 yards past it whenever the pub was blowing up. The sort of walls collapsed and the first floor collapsed, and there were people being carried out. But I just remember watching a soldier carrying someone down the street, and absolutely no one having a clue what to do for the people, for the person that was injured. There were no ambulances there at that stage, but seeing someone totally mangled being carried down the street with nobody having a clue what to do with him, I thought, there's a job for someone who wants to do something in the community.
Salt Lake City, in the state of Utah, USA. From the moment Terry Nichol first flew into this Mormon capital of the world, he knew, just like the first Mormon settlers, he wanted to stay. Terry came to visit his sister and his mother, who'd been converted by Mormon missionaries in Rathcoole more than 20 years ago. The religion offered many splendours, both spiritual and material. The quality of life is somewhat better in a Salt Lake City suburb than in Rathcoole. Rather than spend the rest of his life with no job and no future back home, Terry is desperate to emigrate. But his less than exemplary lifestyle his 3-year stretch in prison, and his involvement with the paramilitaries haven't helped his case. When did you join the paramilitaries?
I joined, let's say, I was 17. I was, what, it's 1970.
Why did you join?
It's just ideological to defend Ulster, you know. The security forces didn't seem to be doing anything. When the British Army did come in, they were defending the Catholics. They were doing nothing for us. They were, well, Rathcoole was quiet enough, but it was on the news and everything. They were down on the Shankle Road people were fighting with the Falls Road people. They came in to defend the Falls Road people. And we were under the impression, it's our army. Why should they be defending them that don't want to remain part of Britain? So, and I think that these paramilitary organisations sprung up. People were disgusted. The British government.
Did you genuinely, though, feel a political commitment, or was it, at the age of 17, possibly an excuse for a bit of fun?
Part of both. Probably mostly fun. Because if you had been political ways at all, you could have joined a young conservative or at home a young unionist. You could have got it, but maybe they wouldn't have accepted you. But even so, you didn't have to. A lot of people felt the same and didn't join any organisation, scared of going to jail, scared of getting into trouble.
Would you have joined the Young Unionists?
No, I'm not much of a debater.
While Terry's actions may have spoken louder than words, they did land him in jail for 3 years. But for him, the justice of his cause is still beyond question.
We were just fighting back. We never started it. That's our point of view. They started it. And our point of view is if the army hadn't come in, we would have finished it. It's went on to, if they hadn't come in, we'd never have lasted 12 years.
Do you regret all that now?
No, not at all. To say we grew up in an atmosphere like that, so it was just a natural progression for us at home, you know. Especially the like of myself. The party was over now. Playing the football with whoever you wanted to play football with, and you just went on to other things.
The party was over, and this self-imposed apartheid had forced not just the team, but all of Northern Ireland apart. This is Catholic Ardoyne, much of it controlled by the IRA. It's jammed up tight against the loyalist Shankill area of Belfast. Its densely populated streets had once welcomed homeless Catholics fleeing other parts of the city. Now almost everyone there is unemployed, including Tommy O'Neill. His close friendship with Bobby Sands was ended when they both had to leave Rathcoole and went separate ways.
We split when we were 17 or so, 18. Bobby wanted to go his way, went my way. We both moved Rathcoole. He went to Twinbrig, I went to Ardoyne. He got involved in the movement. That was him. I didn't see him after that.
Never?
Once or twice. Just when he's up in Long Cache.
Did you go and visit him there?
Yeah. Brought his child up.
Sorry?
I brought his child up to Long Cache. First one to bring it up. I don't know, he's just... Bobby Sands he wasn't better. He just wanted United Ireland. Just wanted the British out of Ireland.
Why did football have this enormous significance?
I was dedicated to football. He was more dedicated to running. Cross country and as skipper. He loved that. I loved the football. He took his turn, I took my turn. He wanted to go run, I went running with him. I want to play football, he'd play with me. They had table tennis, he'd play with me. What he done, I done. What I done, he done. Just like two brothers.
Who was the
4-year-old, about 16-year-old, 17. Just never left each other.
I only knew Bobby Sands up until he was like 17. And to be honest, I never thought he would end up as he did. I mean, it shocked me when I heard that Bobby Sands was, you know, hunger strike and that. And well, he must have had the conviction of his ways to go on and do what he did. you have to respect him for that, whether you respect his politics or not. But looking back to what Bobby Sands was when I knew him, at school he wasn't a particularly intelligent person, and now like he's dead and he's written a book about Bobby Sands with poetry in it. Obviously,
Bobby he was always intelligent, you know what I mean? But he was like myself, I mean, we were lazy, you know what I mean, at school, you know, all I wanted to do was just play football. Like, tends to spend more time around picking football teams for matches and that than doing schoolwork and that. Like I said, I remember I got a Bobby, our hobby ones, you know, and they're personal to myself, like, you know. He's just the same as the rest of us, you know.
I remember Bobby Sands probably as I felt fairly insecure. Person who would at times try to cover it up with violence on the football pitch or wherever outside it, but certainly not a leader by any means. More a person who was led all the time, not an innovator, but more a follower all the time. I met him afterwards, probably after he came out of jail. The first time I met him, we were playing a match. I was still playing for Star of the Sea, and we were playing a match close to the estate that he lived in. And he came up and he talked to me. I was the only one still playing in the team that we'd played in younger days. And he came up and talked to me, even though like we knew each other. I was surprised that he came and talked to me. I didn't like him that much. I don't think he liked me. I must say I thought there was a change in him whenever I met him at that stage. There was he seemed to be a different person to me, and I met him then.
A nicer person?
Yes, far nicer person.
What way had he improved?
He certainly seemed to be a warmer person, and a more sincere person, a far more sincere person. And I was surprised, I must say pleasantly surprised, whenever I met him after he came out of jail the first time. I can't remember, he did 2 years or something like that. But he seemed to be a better person after it. And certainly a far more settled person, probably a more secure person.
Would you have thought in the early days in the team that he would become a hunger striker?
Not certainly not in the early days. No, I wouldn't have thought he'd been the type of person to have high moral principles or been moved in that way. But to a certain extent, whenever I met him the second time after he came out of jail, he seemed to be a lot more settled person and someone who would have been the type of person who would have gone all the way with something.
As far as I was concerned, he was just a left half, that was it.
What was he like?
As a footballer. Bit of a grafter, that was about it. He wasn't... well, he'd done his best, I suppose.
So he wasn't that hot?
No.
Well, did he score goals?
No.
Never?
He was a good, good man to get the ball. He was a good winner of the ball, like, good tackler. But he hadn't too much natural ability, so...
And what about his nature? Were you good friends?
So, you know. Yeah, we spoke. We got on okay, like. For away anywhere, but, you know, got on okay, yeah.
What about him and Michael Atcheson? Because Michael Atcheson is now in jail for Protestant paramilitary offences. Yeah. Did they get on well?
Well, he was a right half, to tell you the truth. So as regards football, they got on okay. I'd stay off the pitch, they got on well enough too, yeah.
Terry Nicholls' stretch in the maze overlapped with Bobby Sands' sentence. The UVF cages looked across to the nearby Republican compound, housing Sands. Both men then enjoyed what was later to be taken away from paramilitary prisoners, and what Bobby Sands was later to die for, political prisoner status. What was it like in jail?
Butlins. An holiday camp. In that sense, you didn't have to work. You're a political prisoner. Special category of the jails club, we just called ourselves prisoners of war. We were loyalist prisoners of war, they were Republican prisoners of war.
Bobby Sands was there at the same time. Did you see him?
A couple of times. Or I was compound 12 and that faced onto the football pitch. Compound 11 on one side, they were loyalists, and 13 on the other side were Republicans. And he was down at the wire there, speaking to a couple of them. And remember one day I called him over and he refused to come. I think didn't want his friends to know that he actually associated himself with any Protestants. You know? I took a bit of coaxing. I was shouting at him and calling him names, and he kept on looking around as if looking at his friends to say, who's that? I don't really know him, you know. But I was shouting his name, even his first name, Robert, and things like that. And one time he just shouted back, I forget, I must have asked him about Tommy O'Neill, and he said that he was in England. I were. Wouldn't answer, just went back and started playing football again.
Was there no sense of friendship remaining from the Star of the Sea football team?
Some people probably, yes, but I wouldn't have even thought of smiling at Bobby Sands when I seen him in Long Case, you know. Other people I seen from Greencastle, they were there playing football, and Dinter Stewart, he come to Wire and was talking to him. He offered to make me an Irish harp if I would make him something in leather. They didn't do the leather work, and we were just standing talk. And I would have stood and talked to him. He played for Star of the Sea too, but he was maybe 3, 4, whatever years older than me. And he was talking away. But Sands, it just turned completely, you know. I even think at the time when we were playing football, thinking back on it, I think he just sort of tolerated us because we were playing football. He didn't really want to get to know us well or be good friends, you know.
Bobby Sands spent 8 years of his life in prison. The first 3, when Terry Nichol was also there, were for the possession of handguns. The government then recognised them both as special category prisoners. Sands lived in the IRA compound as a prisoner of war. He wore his own clothes and he did no prison work. But in 1976, this political prisoner status was withdrawn by the government. The paramilitaries were now to be treated as ordinary criminals. After his release, Bobby Sands was rearrested almost immediately. This time, he got 14 years for the possession of a gun. But this time, there were no political prisoner privileges. He went on the blanket protest, smearing the wall of his cell with excrement. But the government refused to restore political status. Bobby Sands went 66 days without food and starved himself to death.
I support the hunger strike. I support the hunger strike. It's not because of hunger strike. I supported Bobby Sands.
Why?
No why, he's my friend. Most of the Catholic population support the hunger strike. If you ask me, I supported Bobby Sands. I supported the other blokes in it. What good did it do? People dead over it.
How do you feel about it now?
What do you get them as? What good you done, Bobby Sands? Friend of mine. Personal friend. He's lying up in Milltown. Plus the other 9 blokes. They're all dead too. I still support him.
It must have been a terrific shock to you personally. There's a man who's your friend for most of your life, a very, very close friend, and suddenly he's starving himself to death. Was it a terrific shock?
Yeah. I pray for Bobby Sands. It broke my heart. Bobby Sands died. Too good a friend I lost.
Well, personally, if he wanted to die, let him die. At the start, it was the loyalists really that got the political status for all prisoners, and then, 77 or whatever, the government seemed fit to take it off. And well, nobody wanted to go back to this, having to work in jail. Everybody still classed themselves as that. When he's gone on the hunger strike, I would let him die. No thoughts about the man at all. If he wanted to let him do it.
The UVF was to gain another recruit from the Star of the Sea, Michael Atcheson. In 1978, he gave himself up to the police after a Catholic was killed in a pub explosion. He told them he'd given the UVF information which helped them to plant the bomb. But this did not lead to a prosecution. Now Michael Atcheson is in the H blocks for a completely different offence. 18 years for the malicious wounding of 3 Catholic workmen. He's in Block H7 with other Loyalist prisoners, and he's one of a group of Christian, church-going Loyalists. The Northern Ireland office did not allow him to be interviewed.
When I heard about what he done, that was pretty, it shocked me a lot. I didn't think, even because I met Michael when I was home about 4 years ago, and it was at Christmas, and I was standing at the bus stop, and he came over and had a chat with me. Even then, you see, because he'd just been married, and he just moved into a flat in the same area as my sister, whom I was staying with, just a couple of doors away, and I had a chat with him. And even then, he didn't strike me as. This is after actually he would have done that. He came over and says, nice to see you again. Where have you been? Just general info, asking how I was keeping and things. And he'd already, committed that offence, which led to him going to jail. And it's amazing to think that he could have done that, and then just that, that was the same bloke that was standing talking to me, being so nice to me. It's, it's hard to, fathom.
What about Michael Atcheson?
I think he was a hard player. He went to Morecambe to play football. And then, from what I hear...
What happened?
Well, I don't know. He won cash, innit?
Did you ever think then that he was the kind to get involved?
No. Must be the same thing about Bobby Sands. You ever think I'd... Never thought of the Bobby Sands, did I? No, I never thought, no.
Did you like Michael Atcheson?
Oh, yeah. Very fond of him. Good friend of mine.
Why? What were his qualities?
Good footballer. We always talked together, went to dances together, had a drink together. I never thought Mickey was like that. I never thought Bobby Sands was like that either. It's just hard to believe. Just the troubles brought it on. I don't blame him. I just blame the troubles. They just went their way. Bobby Sands went his way. Mickey went his way. It was a Protestant Catholic again, you see.
What do you feel about somebody like Michael Atcheson? What do you feel about him now?
I feel better.
Do you?
Yeah.
And much of Tommy O'Neill's bitterness is that he's stuck without a job in the Catholic ghetto of Ardoyne, walled off by concrete and steel built to keep Catholics and Protestants apart. This is the way into Ardoyne, impeded by ramps and dwarfed by disused factories on either side. Visitors are easily observed. Leaving Ardoyne is more difficult. The exits are mostly closed off, and the problem is finding a way out. Emigration's the only solution, but for most, that's impossible.
I thought about it. Australia. Maybe down south. Anywhere but here. This place is just... It's just a hell. Bringing up a child. What's he going to be like when he's at my age? He might be dead by then. Bobby Sands is dead. He could be dead too. Go the same way. Which I don't want.
Raymond McCord has made it. He had one advantage over the rest: a skill. He's a welder by trade. It's not much use in a dying Belfast shipyard, where there's so little work they've had to pay him off twice, but it's good enough to get him 2 firm job offers and a new life for himself and his family in Australia.
There's no work here. I've been paid off twice in the last 2 years at 2 firms I've worked for. First firm closed down, and the shipyard are laying men off. And also because of the troubles, because there's no end to them. And the politicians, they aren't doing much. I suppose they've tried a whole lot of different solutions, but I don't think that there'll ever be a solution. I think eventually there'll be a civil war here, and it's either you're not going to sit in the fence then, you're going to have to take one side or the other.
Well, I left Northern Ireland because of the situation, because like I was a Protestant playing in a Catholic youth club, living in a Catholic area. All my mates were Catholic. The Catholic lads didn't mind, but what it meant, socialising with the Protestants and socialising with the Catholics, it meant I was going to areas where I shouldn't go. I was going to like discotheques on the New Lodge Road, which is a Catholic area, one night. The next night going out with Protestant mates, going to an area which is just 3 streets away, Tigers Bay, going to like loyalist clubs in that area. And I mean, if someone had a scene, I mean, they're thinking, what's this bloke trying to do? I'm, breaking all the rules. And obviously you don't want to lose friends, so I thought the best thing for me is get out. So I left.
It's not a community that I would like to leave, and I wouldn't leave it easily, and certainly I'm not disillusioned by the situation or the people.
Will you be happy bringing up your children in Northern Ireland?
Yes, because I'd like to think that my son will go and play for Star of the Sea in a few years' time, and he certainly will. He's only 5 months old at the moment, and he doesn't know it yet, but I'd like to think that he would.
It's said that you were the strongest player in the team. You could have been first division material, that's what people have said about you. Did you ever try?
On the Blackpool.
What happened?
Nothing. Just didn't materialise.
Why not?
Just wasn't good enough. The wheels didn't go.
Why didn't you go?
Just lost heart at the Blackpool.
You were so depressed that you weren't good enough in Blackpool that you didn't go to Wolves?
Yeah. Just lost interest in the game after that. That's it.
What do you think of that now?
I regret it.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think you could have made it?
Trying to make me a big head or something, like.
No, but face your qualities. I mean, people have said that you were a very, very good player.
No. That's honest. No.
Whatever Tommy O'Neill's talents, even if he really did have the makings of a professional footballer, the chances of getting out at a time when everyone's energies were spent taking sides was slim. The fact that 3 of the team went to jail and that 1 died on hunger strike does not now, looking back, surprise Dr. Dennis Sweeney. No one was immune.
Well, there was no one in Belfast at that stage during those times that didn't come close to getting involved, or very close to getting involved in various organisations. It would have been practically impossible to live in working class districts and not have been either approached or become directly involved.
Well then, what was the factor that meant that some got into trouble and others didn't?
I would always feel that they were probably the unlucky ones, rather than any preconceived master plan that they might have had to become heroes of their various groups, but not. I don't think that there was anything intrinsically evil about the guys who became involved, or basically very good about the guys who didn't.
So Bobby Sands dying on hunger strike, Michael Atcheson in jail now, that was just bad luck?
I would think it's bad luck, yeah, considering the situation that it is in Northern Ireland at the moment. It's awful bad luck. They, certainly there, but for the grace of God go I, really.
What about the team? How many of them do you still see?
Very few. As I said, I've moved away from most of them were, like, to be honest with you, but I've seen a few of them. I've seen nearly them all from I've left, like, to be honest with you, like, but I say I don't really keep in contact with many. The last one really was Willie McCord. We played football together, you know, for a team in the amateur league, but that was about it.
You're still friends with Raymond?
Yeah. I still see, like, a nickel now and again, or I've seen Sweeney once since he became the doctor, like, you know, but that's about it.
Would you have liked to remain stronger friends with them? The rest of the team?
Yeah.
Do you ever see any of the people in the team?
10 years since I've seen anyone of them. Never. I think they've all went astray.
Would you like to?
Yeah, I loved it. Just to see them for old time's sake, but at the same time, the troubles are still in the back of my mind for me and Rothcool.
Do you think your relationship with the Protestant members of the team could be the same as it was before the Troubles?
I'd like to think about it, I can't.
Could you play football with them again?
No. I couldn't play football with people that left my mother with a scar for no reason at all. Broke our one these. Do you play football? Jeez, for that? No way. For no reason at all. Done no harm. No harm to nobody. You want me to play football with him again? Never.
John! Kieran! Kieran! Colin, well back, son. Good covering. Kieran! Danny, hit! Kieran, close! Just close them. All right, unlucky. Well played, Kieran. Kieran, careful.